You're watching Metalcomania, and I'm back with another ranking. I said after the Slipknot ranking, I'd be taking a break from rankings. I lied because I just learned Cradle of Filth released. So I hurried up, went to my local record store, picked up the album I needed, then had to wait for another album to come in from Amazon because, well, they are slow as shit. Like every other place right now. Man. So yeah, Cradle of Filth. Ranking them. Well, they have 13 studio albums now. I ranked them almost a year ago when they had 12 albums. The list has changed heavily. Heavily I like all of them. I like all of them. I don't think they've ever made a bad song on any album they've done. It's mostly perfection all the way through. You can listen to any of them and enjoy them heavily. So it's out of 11. There's two ties. Sorry, I couldn't. I had to have a few ties. I couldn't decide between a couple of albums. So I'm gonna get into it. Number 11, or my least favorite, which is still a perfect album, is their first album, of course. Um, yeah, it's mostly just all. It's a black metal album. It still has the screams, the high pitch screams that Danny does on in Cradle of Filth. It has that. Um, it's got great songs like The Black Goddess Rises. The Dream of Wolves in the Snow. The Prince of Evil Made Flesh. The Forest Which Whispers My Name. Kind of butchering. So yeah, it has a lot of great songs on it. I don't think any of these songs are bad on this album. I just think that there's a lot better that they've done throughout their time as a group releasing. So let's move on to number 10. Number 10 is Godspeed and the Devil's Thunder. Um, yeah, this one was a little bit high last time on my list, but yeah, this is the one I listened to almost the least. Um, all the songs are good on this album. It just feels like the other albums have better songs, and I could decide between this one at number 10 and the other one at number 9 that's coming up. I could decide between those two pretty heavily, and the other one at number 9 is definitely a little bit better than this one. It has the Death of Love on it. It has the 13th Caesar, 10 Leagues Beneath Contempt, Darkness Incarnate. There's some great ones on here. It's just a kind of it isn't my favorite. It gets lost within the rest of their albums. Next one is, hopefully I don't get taken down for showing this one. Cryptoriana, I think it's called. I'm not too sure how to say that, but yeah, this one I kind of slept on last time. Not gonna lie, didn't really catch on with me too much. I mean, there's some great ones on here, like Achingly Beautiful, Vespertin, I think it's called. I don't know how to. I'm stumbling over my words like usual. The Seductiveness of Decay. That one is kind of. I would say it's the worst song on the album. Not the. It's not the. It's not that. It's not a bad song at all. I still listen to it and enjoy it. You Will Know the Lion by His Claw, Death of the Maiden. There's just some really good songs on this album, and yeah. Number 8 is one that was really high last time, which is Nymphetamine. Um, yeah, I don't know what was with this. I listened to this album and just didn't connect with this. Didn't really enjoy it as much as I did before, probably because I've listened to it thousands of times. And yeah, the starting Gilded Cunt is just fucking awesome of a song. It's just such a great song. And this album's more of a slower pace too. The guitars are more slow. You got stuff like Coffin Fodder, English Fire. English Fire is one of the best ones on here. Filthy Little Secret, Nymphetamine Overdose. The overdose version is probably my favorite version of Nymphetamine. I know Nymphetamine Fix is the just the like think it is the chorus part or whatever. So yeah, and there's other songs like Gabrielle and Nemesis. It's a great album, but it just kind of gets lost in their other ones. Number seven. Number seven. Um, Number seven is a tie between Damnation in a Day and, well, this one's controversial, and Dusk in Her Embrace. Yeah, I'm a fan of this album, but I'm not as big of a fan of it as most people are. And Damnation in a Day is usually like ranked one of their worst albums, and I don't know why. It's just it's awesome. Like there's a lot of good stuff on this album. I couldn't decide between Dusk in Her Embrace and Damnation in a Day. The best ones on here: Promise of Fever, Serpent Tongue, Better to Rain in Hell, Doberman Pharaoh, Babylon AD, The Smoke of Her Burning. Those are like the ones that stand out to me. And this one has songs like Heaven Torn Asunder, Funeral in Carpathia, a Gothic Romance, Red Roses for the Devil's Whore. That's the same song as Gothic Romance. It's just extended. Malice Through the Looking Glass, Dusk in Her Embrace. There's classics on here, but I just feel that it's still perfect, but I still feel like the other ones that I put higher than this are more of my favorites. Number six is another one of my ties that I had. So no more ties above number six. The top five is all non-tie. Existence Is Futile, the newest album, and Hammer of the Witches. I feel like Existence Is Futile is more of a black and death metal album than anything. It kind of has that feel to it, and it's not the same as what they were doing before. It has a different feel to it. The vocals are quite different. Um, it's not as the vocals aren't as coarse sounding as Cryptoriana, I think it's called. Seductiveness of Decay. It's not as coarse sounding as as the album before it. The best ones on here is Crawling King Chaos, Existential Terror, The Dying of Embers, Suffer or Dominion. Suffer Dominion is one of the ones you should listen to. It is one of the most badass Cradle of Filth tracks ever. Yeah, that's what I think of this album. I love it. It's one of my favorites of the year so far. And we're still going. We still have other bands like Black Veil Brides and Dawkins, maybe, if they decide to release. And then Hammer of the Witches, the other one that's tied with it. I don't want to show it too long because I might get struck because of the cover art. Yours Immortality, Enshrined in Crematoria, Deflowering the Maidenhead, Displeasuring the Goddess. That's one of the best ones. Black Magic in Practice, Monstrous Sabbath, Hammer of the Witches. The title track is absolutely fantastic and is one of my favorites from this one. Vampire at the Side, Onward Christian Soldiers, and Blooding the Hounds of Hell. Fantastic album. Didn't really listen to this album too much before doing this ranking. It was more of a okay, I've listened to old Cradle of Filth tons of times, and I really have never explored the newer albums. And A lot of people say one of the newer albums is really bad, and I gotta say no. And it's coming up. Number 5 is Thornography. It was my favorite back in 2020 when I did this list before, but it's moved down heavily. Um, Under Pregnant Skies She Comes, Alive Like Miss Leviathan, Dirge Inferno, Tonight in Flames, Libertina Grimm, The Byronic Man, I Am the Thorn is pretty good. Cemetery and Sundown, Lovesick for Mina. Lovesick for Mina is good. The Foetus and the New Day Kicking, fantastic song. Rise in the Pentagram, Under Huntress Moon, and Temptation. All pretty much banger tracks on this album. All pretty much like god tier level Cradle of Filth tracks. But really, the 4 above this are better, heavily better than it. Number 4 is probably the most controversial one here, is the Manticore and All the Horrors. The Manticore and all and other horrors. The Aberrant. That's one of the tracks. For your vulgar delectation. Manticore. Frost on Our Pillow. Huge Onyx Wings Beyond Despair. Great song. Probably one of my favorites on here. Pellet Reflections. Sliding with the Titans. Succumb to This. It just seems like this album is more like of a black metal style. They kind of try to go back to the black metal style on this one. It's not as bombarded with all these different riffs all over the place. It's more of like carrying riffs with the blasting, like black metal would have. It's got a lot of blasting. It's got a lot of synth parts, which is good. I just feel like this album's overrated and gets shit on too much. I definitely think it's one of the best Cradle of Filth albums in my opinion, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but I feel like that's one of the best ones. Number 3, Cruelty and the Beast. When I seen Cradle of Filth, they played this album in full, and yeah, what's not to say? It's a album about Elizabeth Bathory. It's a great album. It's definitely one of my favorites. Once Upon Atrocity, 13 Autumns and a Widow, Cruelty brought the Orchards, Beneath the Howling Stars, Venus in Fear, Desire and Violent Overture, The Twisted Nails of Faith, Bathory, Araya. Oh my god, such a long song. And just Portrait of the Dead Countess and Less More Than Wargasm. Fantastic album. I wish I had the original pressing of this album and not the remaster, but I'm not going to complain about it. Yeah, I seen them play this in full. Cruelty brought the Orchards is one of my favorite songs ever. So yeah, this album is fantastic. Check it out. It's definitely one to not sleep on. Number 2, Midian, the 2000 album. At the Gates of Midian, Cthulhu Dawn, Saffron's Curse. Saffron's Curse is fucking awesome. Death Magic for Adepts. Lord Abortion, fantastic song as well. Demort, Creature That Kissed, In Cold Mirrors. Her Ghost in the Fog, classic song. One of my favorite Cradle of Filth tracks. Satanic Mantra. The thing that they repeat over and over is fucking cool. I don't know how to explain it. Tearing the Veil from Grace and Tortured Soul Asylum. Fantastic album, but there's one that's, in my opinion, a little bit better, and I've always kind of had a soft spot for the one up above it. So yeah. And without further ado, number 1, as you already know what it is, Darkly, Darkly Venus Versa. I posted this on my TikTok as being my favorite, kind of spoiled it there, but If you're from TikTok and you've seen this, you already know what my favorite one is. And, well, what a favorite to have. What an absolute favorite. The Cult of Venus Versa, One Foul Step from the Abyss, The Nun with the Astral Habit, Repeat of the Second Sacred Heart, The Persecution Song, Deceiving Eyes, Lilith, Immaculate, fantastic song there, The Spawn of Love and War, Harlot on a Pedestal, Forgive Me Father of Sin, and Beyond 11th Hour. Cradle of Filth's heaviest album by far. They're a more gothic feel album that I think this album's the most gothic feel to it. It's definitely got more of that elements in there, and the next album after that was good as well. They've really never released a bad album, and yeah, Darkly is always gonna probably be my favorite. My new battle vest that I'm starting is going to have that is the back patches of Cradle of Filth's Darkly album. And yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, like Cradle of Filth, they are. I don't consider them black metal. I don't, and I get a lot of shit for it. And I really don't consider them black metal. They're kind of like a whole different thing themselves. You have to look at them as a whole different genre than anything else. So that's how I rank Cradle of Filth. Sorry if I stumbled a little bit. My voice is kind of shot for some reason, getting a cold, I guess. So yeah, that's how I rank Cradle of Filth. Hope you guys liked it. Leave a comment, subscribe, go check out my TikTok, and follow me on Instagram to keep up with what I'm doing. I really don't post on Instagram anyways, but so see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys liked it.